say, still generally speaking, the level of North American tomb is lower than that of Europe, but this is also our best North American representative at Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's HeroesHearth Esports. They dominate on small maps. Dragonshire and Tomb, that is the place that they go. Only maybe Gale Force Esports is better than them at this, and so this is, again, very comfortable for HeroesHearth.
So Method have got, HeroesHearth have got both of the maps they wanted, due to Method opting for first pick here. So that is very cool to see. Now, once again, Malfurion is removed here, so the potential for the return of the old man, Deckard Cain, coming back in. And remember, with HeroesHearth taking game number 1, they are now 1 game away from guaranteeing their spot in the top 4 and going to DreamHack Summer.
I think this is a great map for Deckard Cain as well. You know, small, easy rotations you can make between the lanes. You have the ability to fight over the hard camps really aggressively. I don't think he's first pick material here, so he's not going to be locked in right now, obviously. But perhaps on that second rotation before the second ban. But I'm wondering where they're going to go with this one. They ended up going with the Garrosh pick last time, and that's where they're going again. So I guess they answer my question here. So picking Garrosh here, it's not a great map for global. It's not going to pick the Dahaka in this rotation.
It's interesting with the Malfurion banned out, because normally in North America, you see the Garrosh go over the other side, and it's a snap Malfurion Jaina in this rotation to be able to get that answer. I do think it's possible we still get the Jaina, but that being said, on Dragonshire in the last game, we didn't see that high a priority of it from Heroes side. Are there, because they waited until they get it in the back half. We still see that decision-making here as they go in with a Blaze and a Genji. Definitely an increased priority in Blaze for Heroes Hearth. Very uncommon to get that high prio into an offlane.
And over Johanna as well, who has been used consistently by basically every team to try and have that strong front line against the Garrosh, and also the fact that Johanna, this is a really decent map for her due to wave clear.
And I do want to argue the Blaze, actually, I think is because it deters a Task Tracer rotation if that's ever wants to come into line. So Heroes Hearth is automatically looking at, well, even if you pick that, we have an effective offlaner, debatably one of the best on this battleground, and a good response to a common European approach.
Well, I mean, when you were saying the Johanna's been the response, I think it's like now at least some teams came in at the very beginning and were saying, okay, this is the way, and it feels like that's been one of the biggest adaptations for half of the roster of these teams.
Yeah, but sadly, I hate to break it to you guys, Heroes Hearth is not one of those ones that's new news. Ishbu, one of his better, kind of responses to Garrosh very early on was in fact his transition over to the Johanna.
I think there's a high chance it gets banned in the second phase, and we knew that this was going to be the Deckard rotation, because if you're going to grab the Deckard, it's going to be in this phase. It gets banned otherwise based on priority for Method. It's a great pairing with Garrosh. It's amazing for the map. We get the Li Ming back in here, so it's about that combo style. They don't have Genji with it, but they don't necessarily need the Genji to make this work. They can go with the top laner that's got big CC as well to make a bigger combo occur when we see the stay a while and listen. So now the ban for Heroes Hearth, I think, gets a little bit more difficult, because you knew that the priority was going to be on the Garrosh and a combo hero with Deckard. You took away one combo here with the Genji, but you can't stop all of it. Method does what they've been doing so far. And this is not an easy ban.
So I would say probably focus banning on solo laners if possible. Like anyone who's going to have an okay matchup into Blaze could probably be the priority here for Heroes Hearth at least.
Speaking of the matchup between Dahaka and Blaze, normally doesn't go as well as it did.
Yeah, that was quite surprising.
I think I highlighted why that might come to life. Arthlon is still new to that side role.
Right.
This transition is very, very new for this team, and I would say the fact that Arthlon held his own that effectively against somebody as competent as Athero was debatably more impressive, and to be frank, I think Method should have done a far better job picking up on him on the top lane.
I feel like he should have died in a lot of places. The fact that he didn't die is a great testament to him as a player.
Yeah, and the Johanna ban does end up coming through, so not going to have that level of threat under the front line. The next go-to has got to be, keeping in the back of the mind, is Diablo, something that Ishbu is very comfortable on. And I will say, Ishbu is actually the best Tyrael in North America. He's one of the few who's comfortable picking it. That being said, he's kind of lowered the priority pretty significantly through the past couple of weeks. So I just, throwing it out there as it is a possibility here for Heroes Hearth.
Great for rotations. The speed you can do using that Swift Retribution can be absolutely mental on this map.
What about an Uther pick here as well? I mean, we're talking about ways to empower Genji. You've already got Blaze, who can serve a similar role to what Sanctification can do. Obviously not quite as powerful, because you can't be swinging a Dragon Blade while you're in the bunker, but I feel like in some ways it might be a little bit redundant. I like a more CC-based and more aggressive tank like the Diablo you were talking about. And I think the Uther is a great way to make sure this Genji becomes empowered.
Still could be the ETC and the Muradin. There's the Jaina, there's the ETC, so we're sticking to what we know here in North America. Very common composition, and nearly mimicking that of what we got in the last game.
Yeah, with no cleanse this time, no cleanse or Divine Shield protection against the burst. That Jaina and that persistent chase is going to be such a big deal. A big onus is going to be on Deckard Cain to get those slows, to get those roots for most of their disengage, I would argue.
It leaves some flexibility open for their support. I think the Uther pairs very well with the Genji, now also the ETC. And you can be very terrifying with your rotations around the map. Even with the Garrosh on the other side, if you're careful about it, you're going to be in good shape. That's obviously why the Johanna ban comes in there, because Johanna would be able to do the same if you had that composition with the Jaina especially. It's even more terrifying with that burst. So I think right now Method's trying to decide how do we find a safe hero here for Shrimpy, because Genji's on the other side here. You don't have a ton of combo potential. Nyx Chromie gets banned away here. We have seen the double, the Chromie and the Lee from them with Deckard comps.
Leo, that's a
Falstad.
Leo and Falstad, so both heroes with some kind of escape tool, the Wraith Walk and the Barrel Roll.
But this is near identical to what we got from Method in the last game. That is the Hinterlands Blast set up with the Leeming resets opportunities here into HeroesHearth Esports, and I can't help but feel like HeroesHearth should have been comfortable with this, at least in the back of the mind going, it might be coming out from Method again. And the fact that they drafted what is one of the highest, priority compositions in North America as it currently stands between ETC, Jaina, and Blaze. I mean, they're sitting in a very fine position. And again, they had to have understood that that was going to happen. That being said, as you've talked about, the Uther, could it be a very successful pick here? I will say, I don't mind pulling away from it, but I can't figure out what I want more, because I don't feel like Rhaegar is necessarily going to get the value that they would like, but there are enough ancestral targets that it's going to have a high impact here if we don't go down that direction.
Alexstrasza?
Yeah.
Big AoE heals.
I think the Uther's still the best choice, no? Because if they are going for that wombo combo with a potential Hinterlands Blast, at least you have something that completely negates the potential damage coming onto one target.
Initial reset, or at least hope to, if it's not going to be a big, like 5-man Hinterland.
I think if you think about the comparison between Rhaegar and Uther here, Uther gives so much more power to Genji with his Divine Shield. You need a hero that has Cleanse, because you have so much CC on the other side. If you go with the Rhaegar here, you're not really getting much value out of the Ancestral. You're dealing with Genji and Jaina who have very small health pools. Sure, you can Ancestral the tank line, but I think the Uther pick is just so much more safe, and it also gives you more potential to push your boundaries of what you're going to do when you're coming in with the ETC and the heals.
It's time for predictions, Mr. Tetcher.
I think it's a very similar draft to last time from HeroesHearth, and I actually think they might have come out even better this time overall, so I'm going to be leaning towards HeroesHearth.
This is a really tough one for me. This is such a comfort comp on the side of Method, and it's got a lot of strong combos. But on the other side, I think the comp of HeroesHearth just comes together a little bit better.
I'll need very quick predictions as we're about to start the game.
So HeroesHearth for me.
I'm not as confident as I was in last game, but I'm still going HeroesHearth.
Okay, I'm going to go Method. For method reasons. Okay, so let's head over to the commentary team as
methods.
Well. There you go. It's time to start the game. Let's go.
Let's go. Hello, here we are. Game 2 between Method and HeroesHearth Esports. We're skipping the introductions. We're right in the action. Jay, how you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. After that last game, how can you not be ready? Because that was fireworks. And speaking of fireworks, we got a lunar Li Ming, so all I hear is fireworks.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
No.
Baby, you're a firework.
What? I know the song, I think, but I don't know the song,
Little Katie for your evening enjoyment as we get ready to rumble. Do you think it's going to be the Stay a While Hinterland Blast again?
I think so. I think Dread nailed it on that. It seems like the combo that they want. However, when the Uther gets locked in, obviously you can armor up one person, potentially armor up multiple with that wave, and then also you have the Divine Shield and Cleanse. So it's up to BBG. I think his positioning is going to be key because he can't get stuck in there. But you also got to remember, there is a windup on that, and if Uther is close, he could also get the stun, ETC can W. There are some options, but it does require very precise positioning from each member.
Yeah, and there are a ton of chokes on this battleground. It's why, he's gonna get thrown. Yes. He's already used Power Slide now. There's no going back, Ishbu. Only forward to the Hall of Storms.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate moment. I think, there was probably no more perfect game than what I saw at a Breeze the other day. against the Garrosh when he was on the ETC, where it was constantly the face melts every single time. Unfortunately, got out a little bit too deep and didn't have an option. You got to save that power slide, though. Your escape options are nil after you use that.
Definitely changes how you play, for sure. We're seeing McIntyre play Genji, which means it's Arthlon back onto his Blaze again for the second game in this series. We'll see how that works out. Bunker seems to be very crucial versus the reset capabilities of Schwimpy. I mean, Schwimpy's Li Ming has been known across the world for a long time of how phenomenal he can be on this hero.
It's going to be seeing if he can get those resets, and very aggressive is this team. Now, there the toss is already gone, gives you the easy power slide out. That's why, you know, some of the times Garrosh, he dictates a lot of the warrior meta in terms of who can you really pick that can get to and from the point you left and the point you want to go back to? And sometimes it's no easy task, especially when you only have one of those buttons if you're ETC.
Now, whereas Method is content to leave Leoric in the bottom and then rotate with the rest mid to top, HeroesHearth has been sending Genji to try to help out versus Ethereal, because Ethereal is a ridiculously good solo laner. You saw a video where Nick mentioned that he is one of the best in the world, and that is absolutely true. And being new to the role, it's going to be hard for Arthlon to try to keep up with that, but McIntyre's going to do his best to try to get some damage on him. But Drain Hope, that could do a number to a poor Blaze in the lane.
We're going to see Genji again come down, see if he can get some damage done on this. I think just missing out on the end of that Swift Strike for that bonus damage. So Arthlon and team, they're going to try and defend. Of course, you do have the Jaina between that mid-top that does have very, very good wave clear, so you don't lose out on too much. You can see Ishbu again. A little bit of threat here in the top lane.
But what that does do is allow Method, as they once again throw in Ishbu to the Wolves and force him to use Power Slide, it allows Method to have a better control over the top point, because purely the person advantage that they have here. Now, finally, this is about to change, because McIntyre's going to come in, makes them use Indomitable, but the combo of ETCs are done. Going to get hit by a root there, but HeroesHearth trying to fire back, trying to give themselves some room to start turning in some of the gems, because Method is climbing in toward those first Web Weavers.
Yeah, the threat is very much there. I think a lot of the times you can see a nice scroll put down there by Curson to thwart the advances of HeroesHearth as they come down, get a little bit more poke. McIntyre continuing to poke away on that Genji, waiting in the shadows, seeing if he can find an opportunity, but again, Deckard, so much sustain here. The health bars of Method, Gilly, they're all pretty well off.
And both Crowan and BBJ are unfortunately fairly low in mana too, but doing what they can, trying to pick up those globes whenever possible, help Jaina out with her quest as well. See a throw, this time it's on BBJ. She's gonna go in and try to help out with a face melt.
Yeah, he's in a tough spot there. As you could see, the scroll hit right after that, and I think that's gonna be something that's gonna be very difficult to deal with. McIntyre again is gonna look for the option, see if they can get the stun, but Arcaner's gonna come down, and well, Arthlon might be in a little bit of trouble here. He's gonna be okay with that jet propulsion out.
The double charge from both. Arthlon has not had a chance to turn in those gems, but he's slowly amassing those 20 gems. And seeing McIntyre come down here, any possibility that maybe we see a big rotation from Arthlon up to try to get those turned in?
I mean, it feels like they might need to create that type of distraction, but I don't know if they're going to have that opportunity, because Leoric's doing it first as Thero hops up to the top and beats him to the race. I mean, for HeroesHearth, they don't have a camp. There hasn't been that camp pushing out. They haven't lost a lot structurally, but when it comes to wave clear, it's Jaina and Blaze, and then outside of that, Uther, ETC, and Genji, they've got to be very careful if they want to step out to contribute. And you can see Arcaner, he's looking for an opportunity, but McIntyre's going to sniff it out.
This is definitely going to be a tough one, but a very important defense for HeroesHearth. European teams are so good at being able to snowball these web weavers, and it all starts right here. Ishbu has a power slide.
I like the fact that he's being a little bit more liberal, less liberal with it here in using that, because he's basically, every time he's gone, he's like, well, I got to get back. I think that scroll of ceiling, he's like, well, I can't slide back into that. He's like, wait a minute, I'm actually okay if I stay here. So a little bit more cautious approach as we see the mid has been cleared up. Genji's been trying to hold his own here in the top. Nick just gets out of the way of the power slide.
Top takes out towers and the gate. Arcaner questioning if he can move in for a flank. The slow hits Crowan.
Ooh.
But he's just fine for the moment as they attempt to clear this out. Blaze has been done in the bottom, and though Athero is pushing in quite heavily on him, they have made it through okay. They lose some towers, they lose some front walls. The problem is that, Athero has taken out Blaze in the bottom, and now with that, that gives heroic abilities to Method, and they are very close to a secondary set.
He lost a lot of gems there, Gilly.
Yes.
I mean, that was, he never turned those in, and everything that we saw he had before accumulated even more. That is a very, very tough problem now. And you can see level 10 locked in. Jaina had started that as Crone was looking to take that night camp. But the threat of Garrosh coming around, and now we're looking at back-to-back turn-ins here for Method.
Yeah, I feel like this map is highlighting just how important to a team the solo laning role is. Nothing against Arthlon at all. It's just that he is new to the role. He's played some heroes, you know, he was playing like his Rexar on Brax's holdout when they would flex out to that, but Athero is world class in his soloing. And that's pretty scary for any solo laner to play against. But HeroesHearth almost have heroic abilities. No Hinterland Blast this time, Mighty Gust. So a little more control in this composition.
Well, Garrosh sneaking around here. Nice body blocks, though, by Arcaner. This is putting him in a tough spot. The Swift Strike in. And credit BBJ for making that happen. He sniffed it out initially. Arcaner wanted to hang around a little bit longer than he probably should have, and then BBJ puts that big lumberjack body in front of him. I know this because Wolf does the same thing to me. What, when I'm trying to get to the dinner table?
I don't know if I want to touch that one at all.
You know, sometimes you get hungry,
Yeah.
Wolf gets in the way, he body blocks you.
Well, I'm sorry that you've had to deal with that, and I'm sorry that Arcaner did too, but it's very good for HeroesHearth that they were able to capitalize on that, because that nullified quite a lot of the pressure that Method would have otherwise been able to provide. They do still take down 1-4 of HeroesHearth, and this mid one is fairly low, but HeroesHearth now has a chance to fight back.
Yeah, they'll have a chance to get a turn in. They also have stage dive, which we saw them work pretty well for them before. You know, obviously this is a little bit different story. Deckard has a little bit tougher time getting away,
Right.
but
The only thing I'm scared of is
The
both
Gust?
Stay a While and Gust. We could see Ishbu stage dive and immediately die. They just turn
Yeah.
and kill him between either of those abilities. And they could turn and try to kill BBJ too. There's the Divine Shield, but the Gust back behind that too. BBJ is no way out of this. Not against a Garrosh, but they're gonna try to turn this anyway.
they are. Arthlon coming in on the flank. McIntyre
blade.
out with the Dragon Blade. He's looking for one, trying to get there. Stay a while and listen's gonna lock two
Oh
members
my.
down. The Water Elemental should help confirm one kill. McIntyre still slicing and dicing, looking for more, unable to do so, but we have a trade out here. Although no support now for HeroesHearth for another few seconds.
Man, HeroesHearth takes some of the fights that I would never believe possible and is able to make it work. Here they did. They get their turn in, and they have Bruisers and the mid. It's against the 13 of Method, but HeroesHearth need to use this to whatever advantage they possibly can. Trying to take down some structures, open up the map, and importantly, catch back up in this game. They did it last game. Can they do it again?
Right now, they're starting the warpath back, and you know, a lot of gems were used by Method on those first two turn-ins. They don't have a ton left over, probably sitting around 30, 35 mark, maybe 40 by the end of this, so it will still be some time, and that gives HeroesHearth the opportunity to potentially get double turn-in. Nice Swift Strike and deflect there by McIntyre, putting the pressure onto Kirsten.
Tower's about to go down. Mid is all but dealt with as that Web Weaver falls. Is still dealing some damage in the top and the bottom. As we can see the dual solo-ish laners that Method have working out really nicely for them, that the brunt of them can deal with the brunt of HeroesHearth, and then have Falstad and Thero be pretty safe in clearing out the rest. So all we see is some front walls being down, but it's enough for HeroesHearth to get 13, and they have another turn in behind this if they can get the gems in.
Ishbu doing his job to anchor, get vision on that side. They're protecting McIntyre, sitting on 26. Crone sitting on 32. We did see the Wave of Force used there just in case to try and neutralize some damage that didn't land. Wave of Force gonna knock Ishbu around. We're looking for a fight. Water Elemental's out, Gilly.
Crowan zoning away a Thero there. Scroll of Sealing set down, but except for Wave of Force, everything's available. Nice dodge and the jet propulsion from Nick, but he's still low. He can wait out the Water Elemental, but has it given enough time for the turn in here? 32 is a ton of gems to take off of Jaina. That has to feel so good for Crowan right now.
Ooh, that cleanse there onto Ishbu. Instead, they found
Crowan.
themselves Crowan. Stage Dive's gonna try and lock Arcaner down, but Blizzard was already used. However, Crowan does have quite a bit of damage still with those icy veins, but Mighty Gust is gonna put a reset button on this.
The immediate taunt was great. It stopped Ishbu from being able to move into a better position around him, but the Gust was still had to be forced because the damage that HeroesHearth threw out there. Slowly, it feels like HeroesHearth is bringing down one heroic ability from Method at a time, but at the same time having to use some of their own. And it just feels like whoever gets this next turn in, it's going to be of the utmost importance. Method is a level ahead of HeroesHearth. HeroesHearth needs to try to get more done than just the towers they got the last gems, so they're going to try to do it again.
They're trying to do it again. Swift Strike lands perfectly. Stay on Listen's going to lock in 3 members, but Garage does fall as Arthlon comes in the backside. They're looking for more.
Yes, they are with that Blizzard. The Bunker 2. Kirsten is in a hurting now, a heap of danger as he falls. Deckard Cain, when he sees that many red health bars around him, it is basically over. All the heroic abilities come out from HeroesHearth, except Sage Dive was used a little bit earlier, and it nets them the double kill and, importantly, the Web Weavers.
Well, this is a good play here by Method. They're going to try and have this middle wave defended by picking up some Knights. Although we have McIntyre potentially going in here. I was going to say, I'm watching the picture-in-picture before I'm watching the replay, but either way, you can see nice oil spill and lighting that up by Arthlon to help commit that. And then, of course, the clutch bunker there to save himself and then help the rest of the team.
Position-wise, Arthlon played that extremely well because Deckard Cain has been relying on his team retreating to the safety of him, having the stay a while and listen, and then being able to save. But he not only got the final damage to take out Arcaner, but he also jet propulsions to finish out the stay a while and listen so that the rest of the team could continue engaging with the Jaina damage and the slows. HeroesHearth play around this Jaina so extremely well, and it's awesome to see. The slows of Arthlon, too, they just, like Dread talked about in the last game, being able to chase down anybody if they start to get the damage going, and it's working out well for them with this Web Weaver phase.
Athero in trouble, and it looks like he's going to fall very quickly. Level 16 now going to be picked up by HeroesHearth. Gil, you asked if the comeback was starting to come into play
Definitely
for HeroesHearth, and it's definitely feeling like the pacing has changed drastically since the Heroics have been online, and now HeroesHearth, Leo, you know, a little bit shorter death timers than the rest. We'll see what they can do. HeroesHearth close to another turn-in, as is Method.
And Method have 16, so they're ready to get right back out in action once the Leoric respawns. It's been keeping an eye on the team for the rest of Method, so they know predominantly where all HeroesHearth are located. Crowan had gone back. BBJ is taking some damage. Athero's moving in, but doesn't pop out for the Entomb either. He has a few seconds left until he can even use it.
He's looking to set it up. You can guarantee that. You will see that in a gust. All Heroics are now online for Method. See if they can make something happen. McIntyre still looking for that flank position. You can see him at the top left of your screen, seeing if there's an opportunity, but instead it looks like Method might be opting to see if they can get a turn in. Athero looks like he's got it.
Puts in the final few gyms, and now HeroesHearth have to contend with all of Method, plus the Web Weavers. So will they be content to force a fight on the back of this? It looks like yes. The Web Weaver coming out, they're looking to get a beat on where the heck Method are. There was the gust after the stage dive too, separating Ishbu for the moment, but Athero's taken so much damage. The Dragon Blade and the Divine Shield seemed like maybe he'd be able to cut down Method as they moved through that very tight corridor. But Method make it back.
A lot of fireworks, not a lot of action there, as Leo was the one that kind of initiated that with the low health bar, and they're like, can we make this happen? Unfortunately, unable to do so. Now HeroesHearth on the defense, clear out that top lane, but they have a mega push down between that mid and the bottom, and you can see all of Method is there trying to start to do some more structure damage, open this up. They get a pick, maybe get some type of initiation, get a keep here. A lot of Heroics, again, were used on the side of HeroesHearth, so their defense has to be very careful here.
Clearing out top does keep the lane pushed in their favor, which is nice considering that Method maybe with the boss transition, but they still don't want to lose too much here, and they have to be cautious of the Garrosh. They deal with bot, but Method getting keep towers now, and not getting too much more out of that other than that, and they still, HeroesHearth still keep their top fort alive as well. Pretty fast and good defense for HeroesHearth.
Interesting play here. McIntyre's actually going to walk in. This is not where he wants to be. It's McIntyre. The Swift Strike was interrupted.
Yes.
Lenz is going to be there, allowing him to use that agility over. But nice play there by Arcaner. Unfortunately, not able to follow up. That also brought the Water Elemental out again here, Gilly.
50 seconds until that will be back, and that does feel like that's the start of the fight for HeroesHearth, that or maybe the stage dive, but we've seen stage dive now Method a couple of times trying to see if they can get the kill out of that. So far it hasn't worked out. HeroesHearth have been quick to attack as one. We talked about how important that is for this team, but having the Water Elemental down, they're not going to press out too far, just looking to get their gyms turned in. We'll see if they can get those Web Weavers.
Li Ming, I thought, might be trying to get in position to get the interrupt. Instead, it looks like HeroesHearth is going to be here. They are in a little bit of a precarious spot as Arthlon's going to get entombed. Stage dive actually interrupted by that gust, forcing out that. And McIntyre, once again, he was interrupted during his agility, but not his Swift Strike. Looks like HeroesHearth going to be okay for the moment. Web Weavers will be coming down momentarily.
That's a great thing about entombing Blaze. What are you going to do? Jet propulsion straight into the Leoric in front of you? Made him use Bunker, but of course both of those heroic abilities, low cooldowns. But what it does do is, again, allow Method to get some free clear on these Web Weavers, unless HeroesHearth is willing to come in and try to fight and escort them along. And Method having the bruisers, stealing the bruisers when the water elemental was down, allowed for all these lanes to still be pushed in their advantage. So HeroesHearth, you know, I talked about Method not getting too much out of their Web Weavers, but HeroesHearth are starting off on the back foot with their phase as well.
Tell you one thing, I guarantee you Dignitas is sitting there watching this game. They are rooting for Method, because if HeroesHearth wins this and they can complete their win tomorrow, hold on a second, we've got to fight Arcaner. Uses the Indomitable, he's going to be just fine. But if HeroesHearth clinches this, they have a chance to move into that upper bracket if they can win tomorrow, and then that forces a tiebreaker. So Dignitas wants HeroesHearth to lose here. They are rooting for Method. We'll see how this plays out as HeroesHearth Web Weavers have expired.
I tell you one thing. This is night and day, way better for HeroesHearth than yesterday. They are a completely different team again. This time Arthalon's more than happy to jet propulsion right on into Aethero as they bring him down. Dragon Blade and the Divine Shield keeps McIntyre swiping away.
Whoa. Schwimpy landed a mean combo there as McIntyre's health bar just went from about 100% close to about 25%. He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go this way.
I love watching players play against heroes that they play so much, like that, right? Schwimpy is a Genji player, so he knows in general what's gonna happen with the Genji, and being able to get the jump on him like that, extremely impressive. But HeroesHearth, also impressive, are on their way to 20, faster than Method here. They've been able to take out that top 4. They're leading structurally, they're leading in kills, and they're leading in experience. So let's see what they can do with this 20 advantage.
They don't really have a whole lot of options. The time to get the boss seems a little bit too risky. You're going against the Garrosh, you're going up against the Mighty Gust, who, oh, by the way, Nick, sitting at 56 stacks on a seasoned marksman. That is incredibly high on this Battleground, so he's done a really good job soaking up that. The level 20 now here for HeroesHearth. See what they can do with it, as they are a ways away from getting the Web Weaver turn. And it looks like the boss is in their radar.
Ishbu holding on to his level 20. Never mind, he got Bolt. And they get the boss. Method knew that was a very likely scenario with the 20 ahead of them. Method is just content to get their own 20. They've been so far clearing out pretty well anything that HeroesHearth has, making sure to keep the lanes in their favor. They've done that with the bot as well. They're gonna start to turn in, it looks like.
To make sure and get that done quickly, Crowan actually used his water elemental and make sure they could get that done quickly. So that's not available here for another 20 seconds to try and set that up, as the Root's gonna come in with the scroll. Boss putting damage on. Gus gonna buy a little bit of time, but I think this boss should have enough to take down this keep.
Yeah, it was mainly just trying to give them time to free clear without the threat of any kills. That's buried alive. And though a cleanse will help, you still are blocked from the thing itself, the Entomb itself. ETC goes down after the stage dive now. HeroesHearth need to run.
They do. They have to desperately get out of here. Water Elemental is going to try and get some slows. They might even get a return kill. Nice ice block there by Crowan. Got to keep him alive. McIntyre, he's going in though. He's got the Dragon Blade and the Divine Shield. Now he's slicing away. Crowan, he's been forced to retreat as he has no health left, and the fight rages on, Gilly.
Oh no, the jet propulsion missed, and that might just be enough. We see Jaina fall. Arthalon running one way, McIntyre the other. Uther went down. He has redemption. But in that time, everyone else fell for HeroesHearth. BBJ's back 60 seconds until Genji's back, differing at timers from everyone else. And yeah, I definitely think they're going to try.
Yeah, only an Uther left and still so much time before that Jaina is back. ETC's not going to be here. You got to slow him down in any way possible. Repulsion's going to push BBJ around. The keep has fallen. Method trying to even this up 1-1 and claim their spot here going into Mid-Season Brawl. And this looks like Method has done it. Stage dive still 5 seconds away. I don't know if this is enough.
No, Leoric is back too. BBJ goes down just as Ishbu came back. We still have 18 seconds until Jaina. It is a lone ETC versus the world, and he will be buried alive along with the rest of HeroesHearth in this game. Method says, you may find yourself a tomb team in North America, but we still reign supreme on our map. It's a 1-1 in this series.
Well, Dignitas is happy.
That they are.
Yeah, I mean, for Method and HeroesHearth here, they've done very well to establish their spot at DreamHack Sweden. And for Dignitas, they avoid any of the tiebreakers that could potentially have happened. One of these teams needed to go 2-0 to secure that. Now 1-1. I mean, you got to give credit to both these teams. I mean, these were very, very close games that you feel like if this was a best of 5, it's a coin flip, it feels like.
Yeah, and it was an admirable performance from HeroesHearth. They fell behind like they did on Dragonshire 2. They stayed at the keep for a little while, didn't have their water elemental, and tried to use that to make sure to get the boss, but re-engaged when they realized that there was just no way to make it out. I mean, these 2 games have been HeroesHearth being the ones to chase people down, so they're like, there's no way we get out of here. We have to try to make this fight work. They almost did, just wasn't quite enough.
Not enough, but entertaining nonetheless. We're going to send it back over to Caleres and team to try and wrap this night up.
And with that, it's a 1-1 here between